In this video, we're going to talk about applications for equations, which is part of 7F in your textbook. Okay, so there's 5 steps that will help us solve application problems. So they are worded problems, and often there are real life scenarios that we deal with, and we can use equations to help solve those problems. So the first step is to define a pronumeral, which is basically just the letter to stand for the unknown value. So for instance, here I've got let P stand for the price of pens in dollars. So whenever you would say CP, you'll just know automatically that that stands for the price of pens in dollars. Secondly, you write an equation to describe the problem. Thirdly, you will solve the equation algebraically or by inspection. Then you can answer your original question, and then at the end you can check your final solution. So they are the 5 steps. What we'll do is we'll do some examples and we'll apply those steps. So we are going to look at the first one. The weight of 6 identical books, so that will weigh the same, is 1.2 kilograms. What is the weight of one book? So we're firstly going to define a pronumeral. So let's let B, so B for book, let B equal the weight of one book. In kilograms. So that means whenever we see this pronumeral here, we know automatically it stands for the weight of one book in kilograms. Okay, now we are going to do step 2, write an equation to solve our problem. So we know 6 books equal 1.2 kilograms. So for instance, 6 times one book, this stands for one book, equals 1.2. But in algebra, there's a better way to write 6 times b, and it's just 6b, okay? So 6b equals 1.2. Okay, so we've done step 2. Let's have a look at step 3. So for step 3, we need to solve the equation algebraically. That means we need to get b by itself. In order to get b by itself, we're going to do the opposite operation. So currently our b is being multiplied by 6. So what we can do is we can divide both sides by 6. Okay? That means on the left-hand side, you get to cross out these 6's. If you divide 1.2 by 6, what you get is 0.2. So b equals 0.2. Now let's have a look at step 4. Answer the original question. So that means, so we can say therefore, the book's weigh 0.2 kilograms, or you can express that as grams, so 200 grams each. Cool. So to check your solution, all you have to do is, I'm just going to do this in a different pen. We know 6 books cost this, so we can go 6 times 0.2, and that equals 1.2. So we know that that is correct. Okay, let's have a look at a slightly more complex problem, and this will be as challenging as the questions get. So if you can understand this, then you can do all the questions. So it says purchasing 5 apples and a $2.40 mango cost the same as, so this side is going to be equal to our next part of the sentence, purchasing 7 apples and a mandarin that costs 6, that should be 60 cents, so just like 0.6. What is the cost of each apple? So firstly, we're going to define a pronumeral. So we're going to find a letter that's going to represent the cost of our apples in dollars, because that's what we want to find. So let's say let C equal, so it's going to represent the cost of one apple in dollars. And the reason I am defining this pronumeral, like so apples, is because that's what we want to find out. We want to find the cost of each apple, so each being 1, okay? Now we are going to set up an equation. Okay, so it says 5 apples, so 5C, 5 times C, plus $2.40, I'm just going to write 2.4, is the same as, so equal to 7 apples, so 7C, okay, C is apples, the cost of apples, plus a mandarin that costs 60 cents. I'm just going to write 0.6. Now we are going to solve our equation algebraically, and you might notice that there's pronumerals on both sides of our equation. We want to bring them together to solve the equation. So you look at the lower number, which is 5C, and you bring that to the other side. So we do the opposite operation to do that. So we take away 5C from both sides. That means on the left-hand side, you can cross that out. You're now left with 2.4 equals 2C plus 0.6. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Ultimately, we need to get this C by itself. So let's get rid of this 0.6. So we'll take 0.6 from both sides. That means on the right-hand side, I can cross that off. 2.4 minus 0.6 is 1.8 equals 2C, okay. We just need to now still get that C by itself by dividing both sides by 2, okay. On the right-hand side, I can cross out my 2. 1.8 divided by 2 is 0.9. So 0.9 equals C. So C, remember, is the cost of 1 apple in dollars, which is just what we were finding up here. So I'm going to do step 4, which is answer the original question. So therefore, apples cost 90 cents each. Okay. And that's your final answer. Okay.